not a local. You'll be able to tell by the way I talk.
You are now.
I am now, okay? I appreciate it. If you can't understand me at any point, let me know. Usually, anytime I've spoken or done anything like this, I always get a little nervous because I'm kind of the long-haired English major. People are always sketchy about that kind of person, but I figured since we're here for Gardner, long hair is okay. So I felt a little more comfortable. I'll tell you about myself before I start. Like I said, my name is Lambert. I'm originally from Southwest Virginia. I currently attend East Tennessee State University, and that's where I got into Gardner. I'm finishing my sophomore year there as an English major, and obviously being a big Gardner fan, drove 11 hours to get here. So, like I said, I'm an English major at East Tennessee State University. That's where Sandy Yordahl teaches, if you guys are familiar with her. She sends her regards, by the way, and she said she couldn't make it this year. But I recently actually started driving here Thursday and had to miss an award ceremony for a Mark Twain writing contest that I won, and I hated I had to miss it, but I would have rather been here. It was great to be here, but I submitted a poem to that, so it gives myself a little credibility. I'm not teachers like yourselves, and professors, but I thought I'd give myself a little credibility. I want to show you guys this picture. This is a picture of my motorcycle, just to show you what a nerd I was. The tag says Grendel on it, so I thought I would share that with you guys. This is in Virginia. This picture was taken, and so that's a very, very pretty picture I like. That's a copy of my abstract up here. There should be a copy of the English Award on the website of the abstract. If you guys want to access that, I won't read the abstract. I'll just start on the paper, but my paper's on managing mortality, which is essentially the sickness and the mortality of some of the characters in Gardner's work. Before I start, I want to acknowledge a few people. First off, I want to acknowledge East Tennessee State University for their honors college. Helped me fund my trip up here, and the English department also helped me fund my trip up here as well. I'd like to acknowledge everyone that's here and the John Gardner Society. I think this is a great thing. I never imagined I could be a part of this, which leads me into thanking Dr. Sandy Yordahl, who I said could not be here, and who first interested me in John Gardner and his works, and here I am having read several books later, and it's a great thing, and she got me interested in it, and she's an expert, as you all know, on him, and I appreciate her knowledge. Thanks to Genesee Community College for letting us hold this, and thanks to everybody at home who let me run away for a few days. I'll start my presentation, but before I start, I just would like to say that this presentation does contain scholarship, but it's more directed at the admiration of John Gardner and his work, and kind of was put together to try to initiate new thought on his work. John Gardner lived and died with his eyes wide open. I'm sure he would reckon it a shame if others did not follow suit, including his characters. He enjoyed the thrill of motorcycle riding since he was young, and even allowed some of his characters to enjoy that same excitement. He fell in and out of love, likely aware of his situation the whole time. He was diagnosed with cancer and fought it. He knew he was gifted and struggled to get others to see. John Gardner had a sixth sense, an investigative one, like a third eye. He, like other authors, noticed how the middle-aged lady clicks her teeth with her mouth closed, or how a girl's hair flips when she spins around in circles. But John had something more than that. John had an ability to understand, and even more important, to care. An analytical mind is a heavy mind. It's been said that knowledge is pain. While this applies to Gardner, we must realize that he was not a perpetually downtrodden, unhappy person. He was not uncaring. He was not Bukowski. Even in his sad times, he didn't douse all the lamps, even if he just kept them lit to right by. I think it's evident through his work that he was aware that life would happen, and happen to all of us. Inescapable life was breathed into all of his characters, and just like the lives of us tangible humans, it was not always peachy. Did he give them sickness, cancer, or obesity just on a caprice? Surely not, for John Gardner would roll in his grave if someone reckoned a conscious literary decision of his pure whim. John Gardner crafted these characters carefully, flaws and all, and I'd like to take a few of them and take a look at a few of them and consider their health and situation and show how that reiterates Gardner's themes of moral literature and life affirmation. In John Gardner's most meticulous work, Nickel Mountain, we have some wonderfully vivid and believable characters, most notably the main character, Henry Soames. Henry is a haughty, middle-aged diner owner who, for the most part, doesn't stray from home. Although a routine and inactive lifestyle had contributed to his weight problem, Henry's size haunts him and becomes more of an issue throughout the novel. Even initially, Henry is not presented in an optimistic light. The novel opens saying, his heart was bad, business at the stop-off had never been worse, and he was close to a nervous breakdown. This early impression given to the reader is intended to quickly break them from their workday and let them sit down in a booth in the stop-off to observe Henry in his natural, heavy-breathing element. He makes his character aware of his own deterioration as well. He is even presented as pathetic, constantly breaking down and crying on his regular customer and friend, Mr. Kaczynski. This is a wonderful technique toward readers, as it can cause different personalities to respond differently to Henry, but still maintain that he is the central character. We are to respond to Henry as his protagonist, and he is. The novel opens in winter, showing Henry and Kaczynski interacting apart from the other chief characters that have yet to be introduced in the novel, or even into Henry Soames' life. But soon enough, Callie, a 16-year-old girl, will come into the life of Henry Soames. Eventually, as we know, Soames will be her second name, second name, second name. And soon after the name, but not from Henry, will come a child, little Jimmy. These are the two people that are most important to our central character, and thus become important to us. Now, these characters we are given respond to Henry's unhealthiness in a manner we cannot. For instance, take the scene in which Henry suggests that vile George Loomis, his good friend, marry Callie Wells, and the proposal is flipped on him by George. Henry's health in this already heavy scene is a factor. I'll quickly read the exchange between the two to show you what I mean. I'll give you $1,500, Henry said. That's as high as I'll go. I don't love her, Henry, George said, and Callie don't love me neither. Near as I can tell. I seen on television how they act when they love you. Well, you can learn to love her. She's a good, hard-working, honest girl, and she's a sweet girl, too. When she touches you, she can be gentler than, I don't know. George sat still watching him, more sly than ever. Why don't you marry her, Henry? Listen, a man that can't learn to love Callie Wells can't learn to love anybody. You ready to admit you can't learn to love a woman at all? You ready to admit you want to die alone in this godforsaken museum and be found sometime 2 years later? George said, why not you, Henry? He clenched his fist. I'm 25 years older than she is, that's why, and fat and ugly to boot. But you love her, George said, grinning like a cat. Love her, hell, I'd be dead inside a year. Doc Candy said so. But you love her, George said, dead serious all at once. It suddenly came to Henry that was true. Maybe so, he said. He drank. The next instant, Henry felt faint, then violent and sick. Suddenly some incredible explosion of maybe indigestion, and George jumped up and came around to him. When he woke up, he was in George Loomis's bed, and Doc Cathy was over by the window. When Henry moved his hand, Doc Cathy whirled and pointed at him.